partner at Globant. After starting manual consulting work at different companies for more than 15 years, Martin decided to search for a better and more efficient way to do his work. Ultimately, this led him to implementing automation and lean process improvement to increase the value of his actions. Today, he takes a hyper-automation mindset to consulting with Globant's customers, which includes intelligence automation, progress mining, AI, BPMS, and associated tools. He is deeply passionate about enabling companies to predict the impacts of their progress and find the right tools to empower them with data-driven insights that can enhance efficiency, but most importantly, drive growth. He is based in Miami, part of our great partners at Globant, who are an Argentinian firm, and I will let Martin kind of fill you in a little bit more about that. So without further ado, I will say that we have started recording this session. As all the HITEC lives, they become part of an archive that lives for our corporate partners and our membership as a whole to use as a reference. These are part of your benefits of being part of this HITEC familia. So much like the summit that we just concluded 3 weeks ago, like this HITEC Live or our next one that will be presented by Dell. These live and breathe on our YouTube page. It's a resource. Maybe Alexis, you can add that to the chat so that people have it. This one will be up as well, but we do record it. So we ask that you mute your mics and turn off your cameras as we go into presentation mode. And we can hear from Martin Senig and all of the great insights he's going to bring to us about AI and the power of automation. Mil gracias, Martin.
Thank you, Susana, and thank you to the HITEC family for having me here, and for everyone to join this meeting. What I will do is I will share a couple of slides and talk about hyperautomation and some technologies, as Susana was mentioning, that helps businesses to boost their efficiency. But before that, I just want to give a quick introduction of myself. So as Susana mentioned, I'm VP of Technology at Globant. And what I do is I specialize in process optimization. And how? Well, based on these different technologies that allow company to quickly accelerate growth and perform with a better efficiency their processes. So this is the title of the webinar. I come from Globant. Globant is an Argentinian-born company several years ago, but now we are 27,000 people all over the world. We have great clients in many different industries. In particular, what we do, or what I do, I'm responsible and work very closely with the ERPs, with SAP, with Oracle, with Salesforce, and all these big systems that helps organizations to execute their processes. And in particular, what I do is I accelerate the way they do these processes by these technologies and through hyperautomation. But before we go into and deep dive in hyperautomation, I want to start with how can processes be automated? How can we automate different processes in different organizations? And there's really no silver bullet in the market to actually do this. We've seen it many times with many customers, that there are different ways of executing an automation and an optimization, and it's not always the same in terms of technology, in terms of vendors, in terms of the exact solution that a company has to automate. So as you can see in the screen, we have RPA, which I'll be speaking a bit in a moment. We have AI, as Susana was mentioning, one of the key topics that I'm going to discuss today and that is going on in the world. We have custom solutions, something that we do a lot in Globant to build specialized solutions for each one of the automations that customers might like or might want. System integration for BPMS, or even automations within different ERPs or CRMs. But again, there's no one single way of automating different business processes. So the idea here is how we combine all that, how can we use all these technologies in combination so we can achieve the main objective, which is automate something that actually triggers efficiency and reduce risk. Okay? But then, if we're going to start from the beginning, let me explain you what RPA is, because RPA is the basis of all this. So for those who don't know, RPA means robotic process automation. This is specifically a software that can be easily programmed to execute a task exactly how a human will execute it in a computer. So RPA exists for many, many years. It has started as just replicating easy and time-consuming tasks. It still exists, but what I want to talk today is about how we can scale this into a hyper-automation mode and how we can include AI to make this more efficient. So going back to RPA, this is unlike the standard ERPs or softwares, RPA interacts with other IT systems directly from the UI, from the screens of the different solutions. So this means that it's not an integrated or an API solution within the different systems. It actually executes exactly what a human will be doing in a screen of a computer. So some of the benefits of RPA is that it's definitely not invasive because you don't need to develop something in a legacy system or different systems. It's completely accurate and reliable because it will execute exactly the same every single time. It will reduce manual errors that a human can do by just making some exceptions of the standard processes. And again, it's very important that this improves the morale of the employees because it will reduce the manual and repetitive tasks that may be boring or maybe not using their whole full potential for. So again, RPA is the basis. This is some robots, as we call them, which are bots that execute tasks in a computer for a user. But again, this has a limit. So there are plenty of other technologies that can be combined with RPA that will accelerate the way the different companies can automate their processes. And these are some of these technologies. So RPA is one of them, but generative AI or different solutions within the AI world help RPA bots to be more intelligent. And I will speak about this in a minute. Document understanding, the old OCR solutions, which actually can read text from a web page, from a PDF file, got more and more intelligent by actually understanding even handwriting papers. Smart workflows. This is not just standard solutions that will automate a workflow from one system to another, but actually will take decisions while doing that. Process mining, which I will showcase in a minute, is actually understanding processes 100% based on data and not on people opinions. So this is really picking up the information from the source systems to understand exactly how processes are being executed and find potential automation opportunities based on data. And again, not opinions, not on any other things than facts. BPM or traditional business process management or mapping. And finally, analytics. And again, these are just some of the technologies that are out there that can be combined. I think what is very relevant is that these need to be combined to make the automation journey, the hyper-automation journey, more efficient for customers, organizations, businesses, or any kind of operations that a company may have. So what are the limitations of these technologies? And really the limitations of using RPA or any of these technologies is using them on silos, using them alone and not interacting with any other technologies. So just to give a couple of examples, identifying the correct business processes to get automation, to get RPA bots created, it's one of the big pain points that companies have. So again, this is because we ask the employees or we ask part of the business process managers which are the main problems, and sometimes it's not as exact as they tell us. So having a data-driven approach would be a much more necessary step to actually have before automating business processes. Scaling these automations is a big thing and big issue within different companies that has an automation programs. Again, how we can make sure that our bots can scale to all the company or can actually be used by many different users within a company. The governance and monitoring of these bots, for example, when we have standard RPA tools, it's an issue always. So how you can make sure that nobody changes anything that is not touching another business, how you can make sure that you reuse the work that has been previously used, how you can make sure that two different teams are not working on the same, how to check if these bots are failing and why are they failing and how you can correct them. So all these things are things that if you just use one technology, it's not something that you will achieve. And last but not least is how you understand and optimize processes even before you automate. So we were talking about process mining before and how we can get to an idea of what needs to be automated. But nobody really wants to automate a process that is inefficient. So understanding the processes, making them more efficient before automating them, it's a very big, it will cause a very big impact also on the different processes and industries. So where we go with this? The idea behind hyperautomation is to break these silos and work in a synergy way between all these technologies. And what you're seeing in the screen is a real scenario, of course, a very high-level scenario on how some of our customers are using and are following this hyperautomation journey, right? So you will see a lot of terms, a lot of letters that might not be meaningful, but the whole idea here is that we have an input for all these technologies, which are the legacy system, unstructured data, structured data, the ERPs, that will be feeding this intelligent automation layer and will be able to process that data, translate that data even to different languages, but even to a more business language, understand exactly what's going on, and then making decisions so actions can be triggered on the same ERP systems or data that we are inputting. So just to give you a couple of examples, we can be retrieving information from multiple source systems, multiple ERPs, unstructured data from the web. Then we can use technology through document understanding, OCR, image recognition, even speech to text to actually understand what's going on. Combine all that and use generative AI to actually understand what's going on and trigger different actions later by clustering, classifying, or making some actions on the different ERPs or CRMs that we were originally talking about, right? So again, I know this is very high level, but this is very intriguing for all our customers. How we can combine all these technologies to make our operations more efficient and to reduce risk. And by using all these technologies with an underlying layer of intelligent automation plus process mining, this is exactly how we achieve it. I'm thinking about more in detail on how this is being done really in a real scenario for different companies is a journey that this follows. And we normally say that we can follow and we can help customers in any part of their hyperautomation journey. No matter if you're starting with one technology or one piece of software or combination of them, we can help you, or we can understand technology in a way that will help you in any part of this journey. This means that in any part of this circular loop, if you want to call it some way, we can find what's the importance of identifying the correct process to automate, as we were explaining before. We can map and understand exactly what's going on and identify which is the specific pain point in a data-driven approach. Those opportunities that have low potential, we discard them very quickly. It's very important that we move forward. We create MVPs, the minimal viable products on each one of the solutions, so we can actually quickly see and quickly break and quickly build whatever is needed in each part of the process. And the opportunities that we have is rapid prototyping, as I was saying before. And it's not only prototyping, but it's also quickly understanding if this adds value. So if you see any unfeasible value, it's quickly disregard and remove out of our loop, out of our journey. Once these prototypes are validated, we need to start creating these automations or processes or enhancements or whatever, but we should never forget about the change management and really understand how we can make this useful. It's not just automating stuff because we need to automate it, it's actually understanding what's the value behind it. We normally say that there are three pillars in any process, in any optimization that we want to do. One is processes, second is technology, but the third leg is people, and always people. Not only because we are reducing the time that they're spending on undesirable tasks, but also how this impacts people. Normally, if you start automating business processes, this means that the existing process that are being executed needs to change. So following that change and accompanying people, not only with technology, but with this cultural feeling that they need to be used to new processes, that's very important as well. And last but not least, this continuous improvement mindset, it's very important. Again, make it fast, break it fast. If you have an opportunity, continuously create it and validate it, and then go and identify the new opportunity that is very relevant for your business, automate it and execute it. But what is very important is that you should never lose focus of the business strategy behind it and the governance behind it. So what we normally do and we normally suggest is also having a COE, a Center of Excellence of Automation, having an automated testing way so we can actually accelerate the way this is executed, having the infrastructure ready to actually build and execute all these automations as well. And then the tools are really agnostic. The tools will be analyzed and deployed as required by any customer or any specific success case. No matter if this is process or task mining, no matter if this is a ChatGPT or generative AI, or if it's chatbots or API services. What is important is to solve the specific issue through the correct tools. Okay, but then hyperautomation as a general terms allows you to use and to execute these automations, combining all these different technologies. So I don't want to just speak about creating a bot to solve a manual task, which definitely adds value. But what we want to talk today is how to take this to the next level, how to make more efficient these bots, how to manage these bots more efficiently, how to monitor this, and how to have a correct governance over that really is more efficient and really is aligned to business strategy. So what I want to show you today as well is a couple of examples that we have been seeing through the last years in different clients in different industries of this combination of technologies that allows companies to have this hyper-automation journey and are actually accelerating the way they are automating and optimizing their processes. So again, this is a real example and something we have been discussing with many customers as well. So which are the traditional ways of sourcing information for automation opportunities, for example? So we have internal surveys, we have voice of the customers, we have the COVID-19, for example, which is a black swan, so we call it a black swan that happens once in a lifetime and change everything regarding our processes. So these things are normally triggering changes of or how you optimize your process or how you automate your processes. And when we talk about hyperautomation, is how we can use technology to accelerate this way of understanding our processes and accelerating the way we generate ideas for automation, for example. So creating a digital twin of a business process and using tools like process mining or task mining to have a data-driven approach and a fact-based approach to understand your processes, it's something amazing and that we are seeing great results in customers. This means that, as I was explaining in the beginning, using data from the source system, the transactional logs, to actually understand how a process looks like. And if you see in the next slide, this is a video that actually shows what process mining is. As you can see here, this is a business process based on an HR process, for example, that actually it's being mapped 100% based on data. We haven't asked anyone how the process is. We just understand how this invoice process or HR process is being executed 100% based on the HR or invoicing or financial systems. As you can see, again, we don't need the opinions of different people. We just based on the data that's going on. And normally when you talk to people and they say, okay, how many ways you have to procure, how many ways you have to process an invoice, they will answer 1, 2, 4, 10. But actually, if you go to the data, you will see that there are thousands of ways that this process is being executed. And again, this is amazing, the impact that has in business teams as well, when they start analyzing their processes in a data-driven manner, and they have data to support their hypothesis, right? So now we will understand, for example, that these are activities that doesn't happen so often, and this is the most common path. And all these little circles in this case represent different invoices that are moving through the different steps. But again, this is just a minor example on how, in this case, process mining can help on supporting the RPA initiatives, understanding business processes in an AI with an AI approach. And again, not taking decisions based on opinions, but take decisions based on data, take decisions based on facts. If we move to a second example, let's say you find an opportunity of automation using process mining, then you automate that process. And let's say that process is processing invoices from customers. But then when your company starts growing, you see that your invoices come from different vendors or different partners or different customers or different people, different companies. And you see that the format of those invoices is different. Some are handwritten, some are PDF, some are Excel files, etc. So with all traditional OCR solutions, you can actually read and set a template and understand what it's being written in that invoice. Now, with this document understanding or intelligent document processing solutions, this uses AI to actually understand what is written and what text refers to what. So this will automatically understand if the title refers to the company name, if the bill to where the bill to is based on the title that is written, who is the customer based on what's written down in the particular PDF or invoice. And what is very interesting that these technologies not only process data through AI automatically, but what is, I think it's very relevant, it's involve a human in the loop. This means that every time this AI cannot solve something or have some doubts, it will always ask someone, some user, some human, how it should action. And it's not just a one-time thing. It will ask, okay, what's the correct course of action in this case? But the truth is that it will learn. So next time you receive this PDF from this customer, a similar PDF from the customer, it will automatically know that this field means this particular scenario, this particular understanding. So then, we're talking about process mining to further opportunities, RPA to process invoices from emails, for example, and then using document understanding or intelligent document processing to actually read the text and understand what's going on there. And from here, for example, you can trigger different bots that will actually create the invoice or process the invoice in an SAP solution or in Oracle solution. So then it's really having the complete picture of how to automate and how to execute different tasks. And last but not least, we have an example of how hyperautomation works in terms of processes and in terms of process mining and RPA, together with solutions like generative AI or ChatGPT. This is a real example that we're using for a customer. Of course, we anonymize data, but what you can see on the left is the business process of receiving an invoice, like the most common path, and then converting to the real path based on data. Right? So this is like a small simulation on how businesses think their processes is, but against what the real process is based on data. And on the right side, you will see a chat, a real live chat, using generative AI, asking questions about those orders that we have in the process. So it's not just a matter of using ChatGPT to ask, I don't know, any questions that you might ask for schools or universities, etc. But it's actually using this technology in combination of all the rest that we were speaking before, understanding how this can help to take decisions very quickly. In this case, this analysis that we're showing there, which are the top 3 shipped items, which is the customer with most invoiced items as well, what the order is taking the longest to be processed. Those are questions that normally a business analyst will need to analyze, and it will take time. But now we have an augmented solution, an AI augmented solution that will do that for us. So this means that we can just simply type a question, and that bot or this generative AI solution will look into the process, will look into the solutions or the RPA solutions, the process mining solutions, any technology that we have, and we can combine it to actually extract information from there and execute different actions based on what we're saying. Okay, so again, I wanted to cover half an hour at least of this conversation showing what hyperautomation is, a couple of scenarios, a couple of examples of what we're seeing that is happening. These are real scenarios from real customers. We see this all days, and we're seeing that this is exploding, let's say, increasing. The way of this adoption is increasing in different customers, but this is all industries. When we say there's no silver bullet for automation, that's completely true. And the truth is that there's no single or silver bullet for any particular industry. Different industries have different solutions, but even within the same industry, different customers might have different solutions as well. So what is very relevant is to have like the complete menu of hyperautomation and AI solutions. And the magic is how you combine them, how you approach the problem to actually solve it using all these technologies in a more efficient way. Okay, so having said that, I want to open the Q&A for any of you guys that may have some questions around this. We can go back to a few slides if that's needed. But I want to finalize with one message that this is something that is happening. This is not the future. Using RPA automation or hyperautomation solutions is something that we're seeing for a couple of years or even months, in the recent months as well. So this is something that we don't need to be prepared for. It's something that it's already happening. And these new technologies that continue to grow and continue to be in the market, this will only accelerate the way these automation solutions work. So my recommendation is to be 100% aware of what's happening and also be ready for the new things that are coming and how we can combine them with the standard solutions that we have in our industries and companies, so we can automate and augment the way, the efficiency of our processes. So I'll stop there. Exactly 2:30 p.m. in Miami, and I'll open the mic for you guys if you have any questions or comments.
Thank you, Martin. Let me just check the chat. Roylene, I don't know if you have seen any questions come in, but we're more than happy to open up now the discussion to everybody who's on, if you have any questions. And so maybe I'll start with, exactly what I started off when we kicked off the webinar, Martin. So about the energy consumption that AI is gonna use. Do you have any insights or something that you can share from what you're hearing the business say about the demand of energy to source all of this utilization?
Yeah, so the truth is that today there's a lot of computing that is needed to train these models and to train these models. The truth is that we're expecting this to grow because the usage of machine learning algorithms and generative AI will grow definitely. But what the industry is working on is also how to reduce this computational time and how to actually use less energy or cleaner energy to execute these tasks. So I don't have a real answer because I don't think there's a real solution yet, but I think the industry is moving in that direction on how to consume less or less computational efforts to actually execute this kind of algorithm.
And then, folks, if you want to just take yourself off mute, turn on your camera, please do so. This is kind of the portion of the HITEC Live where we interact more as a community. So please feel free to do that. And maybe, Roylene, if you want to take us off of presentation mode, we can fill in the rest here with the boxes of all of the friendly faces. Pero también, I guess while people get themselves ready with any questions that they might have, and I could talk about this all day, because as somebody who works with a technology community but isn't a technologist per se, I might have very unique perspective and insight because it's not my day in to day out. But the way that I see it, at least from the work that we do in servicing the community, I know that there's AI that enables, and this, we have somebody who helps us with our social media and communications, Alexis Vasquez, in case you all don't know her. And there was a whole sessions at Gartner that were talking about the charisma chats that are able to make you seem and look, and then the photos that you can take, and then the filtering and everything like that. Do you think that in several years, both our emails, our online presence, our social media presence, our physical digital presence will all be enhanced by these charisma or enhanced featured type of AI? And then if so, what does a real interaction look like?
Yeah,
or
so
will
I
we
think
even have real interactions is my question, I guess.
No, it's a very good question, and I think it's already happening. So using avatars and using automatic chats to answer for you. I don't know if it's in haste, but I think it's changing at least. So definitely using AI technologies will help. I think that's my perspective. I see it very positively. But yeah, where it will end, I think nobody knows. But definitely using these technologies will help to execute activities faster and efficiently. So answering questions that are repetitive automatically, definitely. Using an avatar to speak in a webinar, like I'm speaking right now. You can be doing it in multiple languages, in multiple countries, in multiple times at the same time. So I really think that there's a huge opportunity of making more efficient these kind of solutions. Yeah.
I love it. And then I think that it's the challenge for every single person to think about, we at HITEC service a very particular community, how we can use AI as a tool to help us make sure that we're capturing that kind of lens and mindset when doing so.
Hey, Susana, good morning. This is Gustavo. Can you guys hear me okay?
See, dale, Gustavo, don't let me, take over the whole entire conversation, because otherwise I had another question ready to go. But you go for it, Gustavo, porque you're the one who we're here to serve. Dale.
Gracias. So just to follow up just on your train of thought, what you were talking about, actually was on another AI presentation last week. There was a HITEC, there was like a New York Tech Week here or FinTech Week in here in New York City. And I didn't get to attend a lot of things, but I did sit in on one presentation, and they actually talked about there's an AI bot that can negotiate debt collection. So there was an AI bot that was being used with a debt collector to, kind of go back and forth and haggle in a debt collection. So it's kind of just to your point about like how can it use, and the debt collector, they actually replayed it. Now maybe it was staged, maybe it wasn't. It didn't seem so, but the debt collector actually didn't know that they were interacting with an AI bot, or for that matter, they were being recorded. So that was like interesting. I had never thought of like that use case, but essentially like they played this out thing where like the AI was trying to get the debt collector to send over some information without agreeing to paying the debt, and actually got it to agree to it. So it's kind of interesting to hear that play out as part of the presentation. So again, use case that I would never thought of. But Martin, thank you very much for putting this together, and really appreciate it. Martin, do you mind showing me, because I joined late, so my apologies for that, but like the HR example, I think your HR example was the first one. And just what was going on there? Just help me better understand that HR example.
Yeah.
I think you got the 3 examples. My apologies. I don't want to take Susana, like you said, I don't want to take over, but I'd love to I'm in the HR space, so I would love to just better understand that one and kind of see, kind of looking at AI and just a better understanding how AI might be used in HR processes.
Yeah, definitely. I'll share quickly my screen. Just one second. What we're showing is actually using process mining to understand some financial processes within HR, right? So this process, it will be the pay of invoices for employees, something like that, right? So it's completely simulated, so that's why maybe it has some steps. But it says receiving invoice, pay employee reimbursement, etc. So it can be expenses within a company. So what we're seeing here is that instead of asking the financial team how the process works, we just connect it to the source system, which can be SAP, for example, in this case, and we map the process automatically. So in this way,
Gotcha.
In this way, we can find the potential inefficiencies of the process, or what can be automated based on how the process is really being executed, based on facts, based on data.
Gotcha. So you're using the AI tool to read, now I get it, the transaction logs to say, these are all the steps. So like assuming that I have a system that's tracking all the individual steps that a process is taking, they can summarize those, look at all of them, and give you, okay, here's actually how things are going. And in that way, now I can say, well, you're supposed to go steps 1, 2, 3, 4, but you're actually doing 1, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4. Why is that? Do you really want that? How do we take that out, etc.? So it's a way to, the AI tool summarizing the actual steps that are being followed. Ahora entiendo. I understand. So it's, again, like you're saying, saves the whole process of me having to, anecdotally get the process from folks, but really using system logs to understand that process and then decide what changes or not do I want to make to it. I understand.
That's completely accurate, Gustavo. What I want to add is that in this case, I'm showing an expense or an invoice or an HR process, but we can map any process that leaves a digital footprint. So we're mapping procurement to pay process, order to cash, HR processes. We're mapping patient journeys in a hospital, which is very, very interesting use case that we have. So any of these, these kind of solutions can map any of these different processes.
Two preguntas, Martin. One is, that assumes that like you have a system that's tracking all the different steps and that you have enough information about all those steps to kind of do that, right? Like, because if it's manual or whatever, there's nothing there, right?
Yes, correct. We need a digital footprint. This can be done in an ERP or CRM system, even if it's in an Excel file, but we need this to be tracked somehow, yes.
Gotcha. And which AI tool is it? Like I think of ChatGPT, and I've been using ChatGPT a little bit, but more like, hey, help me, draft email, summarize certain information, blah, blah, blah. Like, which AI tool is the one that you would use for something like this?
The solution behind this, or the technology, it's called process mining. So there are different technology vendors that actually provide that. We have actually one in Globant, that is the one that you're seeing. It's called Navigate. But definitely process mining, I think it's the thing that you need to look into.
Gotcha. Okay, so, that helps, because I didn't catch it the first time you talked through it, and so now I understand what you're saying, and so that was the first example, and I don't know if others have on the call, like Susanna, like you said, I don't want to take over the call, but Martin, you got a lot of great information. Anyone else with a question?
I think we just had something pop up on the chat. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was saying thank you to Gustavo, nothing else.
Oh. Claudina, I don't know if you want to get off.
Yeah, I can. I guess to Gustavo's question there, right? I mean, this type of applications, and Martin, please feel free to correct me there, leverage what is kind of machine learning, as in, kind of the automation of tasks in a way. Gen AI in that type of application doesn't necessarily generate net new content. ChatGPT is an application that leverages a large language model, and that technology does generate net new content. That is why it is a subset of machine learning, known as deep learning, and commonly referred to as Gen AI, because of that capability. So they're different in terms of, who's a player, what the technology does, how it works. So Martin, please go ahead and kind of do your thing, but I just wanted to clarify, because it felt like there was a bit of a level setting maybe there.
No, it's completely true. I mean, we hear a lot of generative AI and AI these days because it's the buzzword, no? But I mean, we have been using machine learning and AI since a long time now. And even more simple algorithms, that's called machine learning as well, right? So generative AI, it's everything related to what you see around ChatGPT, or how you can ask questions to processes, as I was showing in my third example, or how you can create content or new things, as the Claudina was mentioning before, right? But again, machine learning and AI are many different solutions. To Gustavo's question before, these process mining solutions, it's part of the Hyperautomation toolbox, if you want, but it's not generative AI. We definitely use this in combination of generative AI, and I think that's the magic here. But indeed, yes, there's a difference between, let's say, standard AI or machine learning with generative AI. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Martin. And here, I have a very special place in my heart for Globant. I was at your offices in Punta del Este before Punta Tech, and I'm also here in Miami. I'm just from the other side of the river.
You are invited anytime you want, Claudina.
We might not agree on football, but we agree on generative AI. I like that.
Always.
Sorry, John, and thank you for clarifying. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, I think words are important, right? So I got it. So if I was referring to that as generative AI, ChatGPT, it's not that. So got it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and I think that it's also, you can go so granular as a process improvement tool, but then I also, when we talk about AI and the power that the AI productivity, one of the things that kind of comes to mind, and this might be, out of your daily scope, but I think it's something to really keep in mind. Globant is a company from Argentina, and we've got companies here from all around the United States and internationally. But AI, the productivity that it enables shifts the geopolitical landscape and the macroeconomic landscape when we're thinking about powerhouses of human capital, such as China or India, or some of the nearshoring that happens throughout Latin America. AI kind of shifts that power back to maybe, different countries that the human capital is a lot more expensive. I just want to pick your brain, Martin, on what are your ideas of how AI is shifting the geopolitical, I guess, landscape?
No, I think it's a great question, and I think it's helping a lot to level everyone's knowledge, and not only geopolitical, but also with different socio-political, let's say, people. Because again, using AI to answer standard questions in a contact center might be used very well, and it might be used for people are going out from college or from schools and just learning very quickly which solutions need to be applied to different tickets or contacts or questions or whatever. Now, some tasks, they will start like that. It's starting with some easy tasks, but now as we learn, as generative AI learns within your process, within your own data, it will help to execute higher level of difficulty, let's say, with the activities. So that will definitely level the knowledge that is required to answer. So again, indeed, it will be, I think, leveling the knowledge between multiple people, multiple geographies, multiple socio-political conditions. Yeah.
It's so interesting that I think the shifting times that we're living in.
Absolutely.
Vale, I don't know if we have any other questions within the forum. Ay, Carlos Alberto, adelante.
Yeah, I have 2 questions maybe. The first one is you were talking about how this hyperautomation can take an invoice and process the invoice and all that sort of stuff, and then if it's unable for some reason to process the whole invoice, then it asks any person. Then I was gonna ask, like, how is that machine learning is involved in there? For example, if the same scenarios happens again, does this hyperautomation learns from it and then it does not have to ask the person, or how does that works?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what it actually does. When this kind of solution, this particular document processing or document understanding doesn't understand something, it will ask a human. And once the human explains this to these machine learning algorithms, the algorithm will actually learn exactly what's going on. So next time a similar invoice comes back, it will actually automatically process it without need to ask again to a human. So it will actually learn from whatever you answer as a human, so you can actually process automatically later.
So machine learning technology are also into this hyperautomation.
Yes, absolutely.
And my other question was, like, what's the job title of the person involved in getting the whole process together? Like, I guess it has to be like a really smart person.
That's a
Se
good
llama
title.
Martin Senig,
No,
Vice President of.
Definitely, it's not me. It's the great team that will actually execute this kind of tasks. I mean, what we see here is that a lot of the different roles that we have even within Globant are combining a lot. So we have process analysts, which are the experts on understanding and mapping processes. Then we have RPA developers, which are the ones that are building the bots. But we're seeing, and we have, let's say, data scientists that are the ones that are building the machine learning models. But what we're seeing here is that all those roles are converging into one. So everyone needs to know a bit about everything. And that's the beauty of it, because you can execute tasks easier thanks to Gen AI, for example. And I can build a bot just by asking ChatGPT how to build it. And then I need to understand the processes based on my previous experience, but then a data scientist can be involved in this process as well. So again, it's a mixed role. I don't have an answer, like a single name for this. A very smart person, I think it's the correct name.
Pues Martin, I think that we've exhausted the attendees aquí. We're going back and having so many different golden nuggets that have come out of your presentation and the conversation afterwards. I want to thank you very much for your time and for building into the HITEC community. That's what we do here, a one-on-one build into one another. So Muchísimas gracias, and thank you for the amazing presentation and the thought-provoking conversation.
Thank you, Susana. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Muchísimas gracias, everybody. We'll see you at the next HITEC Live with Dell.
Bye-bye.
Hasta luego. Ahí vamos. High five.